Mr. Music with meteorology, and you are all home on a snow day. So I thought I would take the opportunity to kind of explain why you're home with the explanation of what is the snow belt and lake effect snow. So first of all, you need a lake, and we have a big one. It's called Lake Erie. That provides us the moisture. So as long as the water is open and the lake temperature is warmer than the air temperature and the temperature over land, you have the opportunity to produce lake effect snow. So you don't think of the lake being 40 degrees being warm, but it is warmer than the surrounding areas. So today I trudged out from my home in Little Mountain, Concord on the south side of Mentor, and I also went up to the lake at the Headlands Beach, and I also went to the snowbelt capital of Geauga County, which is Chardon. So we take a look at the basic geography. So you need the water as the lake. You also need the wind, right wind direction, and then again the geography. So when we look at the geography, I use a term called the elbow. So if you go down to downtown Cleveland, here is the corner of the elbow, and it separates Cleveland from east and west. And as you can see, once you get to the east side of Cleveland, the coastline begins to turn more to the northeast, and that's really, really important to understand, because there's a term that's called fetch, and the fetch is the amount, it's basically the distance an air mass travels. So when the wind is out of the west, so going from west to east, because of meteorology, we always define the wind as where it's coming from, not where it's going to. So out of the west, it's going to travel about 125 miles across water. When it's out of the northwest, as it was today, it's going to travel about 100 miles over water. And then if it's out of the due north, you think, oh, the north, it's really, really cold. Well, because of the shape of Lake Erie, it's really only covering about 50 miles from north to south. So based on the direction of the wind and how much water it covers is going to impact how much moisture that air mass is going to pick up and then subsequently dump over the shoreline. So normally when we get winds out of the west and the northwest, it's going to pick up more moisture and drop it over land. And then as you see Buffalo up here, the reason Buffalo is always talked about snow is that our traditional winds of the mid-latitudes is coming from the southwest. So if you think of the winds coming from the southwest in this direction all the way up here, it has a tremendous amount of fetch, maybe 300 to 400 miles. So when they see winds out of the southwest coming over Lake Erie, that's why Buffalo just gets hammered. So the keys to the lake effect snow are: 1, you got to have a lake; 2, the geography; and 3, the wind direction. So let's see what happens when I take a travel from Little Mountain to Mentor Headlands Beach and then to Chardon.
It is December 9th. You guys are home on a snow day. I've always wanted to do this, so we're going to talk a little bit about lake effect snow. So I live here out on Little Mountain, so the south side of Mentor, probably really the northern edge of the Ohio snow belt. So it is about 8:45 here, and so I have my trusty yardstick. So go out in the yard here really quick, take a look. So right now we have about 9 inches of snow. So what we're going to do is head up to Lake Erie, take a look at that, and then maybe drive down to Chardon and see what that looks like. So here I am at Mentor Headlands Beach Park. It's about 12 miles north of where I was previously on Little Mountain, about 200 feet lower in elevation. And as you can see, though very brisk, right here, the waves behind me, the wind is out of the northwest, and that's important to know too. But we take our handy dandy trusty yardstick, go down here to the ground, to note that even though it's 31 degrees air temperature here, the lake water is still above freezing. So the water is warmer than the air, therefore it's still going to evaporate. It's just going to rise off the lake. It's going to be picked up by the air and move inland with that wind coming out of the northwest. So if actually it was a westerly wind more than a northwest, actually it would probably pick up more moisture based on the shape of the lake. I'll explain that a little bit later. So hopefully what I'm going to do now is try to trudge down Chardon, which is about 10 miles south of, where was it, at Little Mountain, and see, we're in Chardon, Ohio. It is the capital of the snow belt of Ohio. A little higher ground. So here's some interesting things. So Little Mountain, about 10 miles south of the lake. Temperature there was about 27 degrees. We had 9 inches of snow on the ground this morning, and this all started last night. When we headed up to the lake, temperature is a little warmer at 31 degrees, a little brisker wind. And right on the lake, absolutely, you know, just a dusting of snow. So then here we are in Chardon. Again, now we're 10 miles south of Little Mountain, or almost 20 miles south of the lake. And if we walk over here, we have, see, trusty stick. We have 13 inches of snow. So, and it's about 23 degrees here. So it gets a little colder away from the lake because the lake's going to insulate the shoreline and brings all that moisture in. Land's temperature's gonna drop faster than water because the moisture in water holds that temperature. So as you move inland, the temperature's gonna be a little bit colder, drops more of the moisture. So that really defines what lake effect snow is. The wind direction is gonna dictate that a little bit, meaning when it comes out of the north, the lake's not as north to south, it's not as wide as it is east to west. So it's really not as big an opportunity to pick up as much moisture. So when it comes out of the northwest or the west, it has greater distance to travel over water, therefore it's going to pick up more moisture. And that's really why the eastern side of Cleveland, where the lake actually starts the coastline bends to the northeast, where it's going to get more moisture dumped off into, and that's what creates the snow belt. So hope this was helpful.
All right, so hope you thought that was kind of cool. So let's kind of summarize here what we did today in the lake effect snow and the snow belt here in northeast Ohio. So again, we have lake temperature around 40 degrees. Not necessarily something we consider warm, but definitely warmer than air temperature, and again, definitely warmer than the coastline and over land. And again, water's going to change temperature a lot slower because of specific heat. Land's going to change temperature very rapidly. Think about desert, where it could be 110 during the daylight and down to 30 or 40 at night. It's because there's no moisture in the ground there, so it's going to change temperature much more rapidly. So when you look at the snow belt, things to consider. So here we are. We had a northwest wind today blowing in with about 100-mile fetch. So, and then we had air temperatures at the beach about 31 degrees. And they only had 1 inch of snow. And again, because of that lake being 40 degrees, it's going to insulate the shoreline. We don't think of that, but even at 40 degrees, you have to go a few miles inland before the actual temperature is cold enough for it to start dropping snow. And the other thing to consider is the elevation's going up as well. So then we went to where I live, just south of 90, King Memorial, Little Mountain. It was 27 degrees there today, and we had 9 inches of snow. And keep in mind, it started snowing about 2 o'clock this morning, and this was just about 8-9 hours worth. So, and you know, we can anticipate more as well. And then we went just a little bit further south, about another 10 miles south to Chardon, and the temperature is down to 23. The elevation again a little bit higher, and Chardon had 13 inches of snow. So it's not going to keep going where if you go all the way to the bottom of the map, it's going to be 27 inches of snow, because eventually it runs out of moisture. So, but that really defines the snow belt and why you have the first 2 to 3 miles inland are being insulated. Now, once the lake freezes over, everybody on the lake is going to be able to get a little bit more snow, and this may actually kind of reverse itself. So that's lake effect snow, and that's the snow belt. Happy snow day. See you on Tuesday in class.